do sessions on recruiting and keeping because I've had great success with it. And they say you're selling a product. Well, you are. You're trying to get people to join. And the main thing is how to not only get them in, but how to keep them. And also the reality is you got to have a good personality as a conductor, okay? You got to have something there too. But there are safe ways of promoting. Let me just tell you, when I first came to Corpus Christi Cathedral in 1984, there were about 5 or 6 guitarists and singers, and that was it. There was one professional organist at the cathedral, and my challenge was to form 2 choirs, a choristers, grades 4 through 7, and an adult choir. Okay. So I did the recruiting as I usually do, and the first rehearsal for the adults, I had 72 singers. And then for the youth chorale and for the choristers, that's grades 4 through 7, I had 60 children. And then with my policies at the end of that first year, with the adults, I landed up with 45. And with the kids, I landed up with 50. All right? But you'll see why that happened. Okay? But as of this date, I have several choirs. When I developed the choir program at the cathedral, I did start with grades 4 through 7, and I called that choristers. But I decided to go before that, and did you get the handout, by the way? I started grades 1, 2, and 3. And that has been now the most rewarding choir to have, the most important choir, the most foundational part of your program, in grades 1, 2, and 3. So I have chair choirs, which would be a base of a pyramid. When I talk about a pyramid process, the most important part is your youngest choir, and that would be the chair choir, grades 1, 2, and 3. I know that there are some churches, I don't know about your churches, but in the Catholic churches, I know we have choirs that are only formed on style of music. We have traditional choir. We have the folk choir. We have the mariachi singers. We have the polka choir. We have the deadbeats, that's the funeral choir. So we have all kinds of choirs only formed on style. And I have been mandating on a national basis to preach the gospel of what our non-Catholic brethren have been doing, which is a choir program based on ages, singing all styles of repertoire. In our case, from chant to contemporary, right? So every choir is singing all styles of music. In our case, even Latin and Greek and things like that. So we have no prejudices on repertoire. They all sing that. But the main thing is to form choirs based on the age groups, which I learned beautifully from you all. And I love it. So you see our program initiation process, chair choir grades 1 to 3. And let me tell you, they rehearse on Wednesdays from 5:30 to 6:30. Cathedral choristers grades 4 through 7. Wednesdays from 6:45 to 7. Cathedral youth chorale Wednesday grades 8 through 12 rehearse from 7:15 to 8:30 every Wednesday. Okay. Now chair choir sings every other Saturday night mass. Every other. I used to do them once a month, but you know what? I just am totally against once a month because I found that kids may miss that one time in the month, and there's no consistency. The parents go, oh, I forgot it was that Sunday. Oh, I forgot it was that Saturday. So they need to know what consistency is. All right, you got my toy box?
I did get your toy box.
Good for you. That's my toy box. Good for you. All right, so what was I talking about this week?
Not once a month.
Once a month, see, every other
Yes, that's
week,
right.
Saturday.
Every other Saturday, so that they know that every other Saturday they sing at the Saturday evening mass. All right, no ifs, ands, or buts. So that gives, the more they sing, the better. That's where it's grades 1, 2, and 3. Okay. The cathedral choristers and youth chorale sing together at the 12:30 mass, and they have warm up at 11:45. 11:45.
They sing every Sunday?
Every Sunday from October to till the middle of June. Every Sunday. And that gives me a choir of 95 singers every Sunday for
Which
that
group is that?
mass. Pardon?
Which group is that?
That is the Cathedral Choristers has 50 singers, and, I'm sorry, 45 singers, Cathedral Choristers. Youth Chorale has 50 choristers, 50 singers. Cherub Choir can have 50 to 60 kids, all right? I try to have 25 boys and 25 girls in that choir, grades 1, 2, and 3. That is so important to have that. And the way I recruit is amazing, because the more boys I recruit, the better. The more you have in grades 1, 2, and 3, the more you have a chance of locking them into your program for life. And as grades 1, 2, 3, you sell it to the parents. If you want to bring people to your church, I learned from you guys, form a great children's choir. You bring the parents, you bring the loved ones, you bring their families, you bring life to your parish. I'm trying to share that with the Catholic Church, that children's choirs are very important. You bring parents, whether they be single parent families, to the church because their little one is singing in choir. It brings them to church. It opens the door. And they would not be a church at all if it weren't for the kid. So the kids love it. They have no prejudice like the adults. And it's just been very, very rewarding. I've been at the cathedral for 33 years now. And now I have children that were in my cherub choir who got married, who are having children in my cherub choir again. And what's pretty hard is I look at them and I call them their mom's name. And they go, "That's my mom's name." I said, "Well, you act just like her." You know, so it's just been so rewarding to be there a long time. That's unusual. I think it was Austin Lovelace that said, if you're there for 10 years, you better just get out of there. But, you know, I hanged in there, and it's been very rewarding. And now they have a statue as though I'm dedicated. St. Cecilia's statue is dedicated to me. It's very nice. You know, I'm glad I'm not even dead yet. I get to see it. Who knows? Maybe the bathrooms will be named after me. I don't know. We'll see. So that's all the choir programs we have. Then we have adult choirs that meet on Thursday night. And that's college age and up. Youth chorale, I can have some freshmen from college in there. If they want to kind of stick to the Cathedral Youth Chorale, they have that option. The first year, the freshman year, to stay with youth chorale. But then they shift into the adult choir, which is starting at freshman in college till you die. I mentioned that because and this is a good recruiting tool, in our choir room we have a huge wall of commitment, a beautiful wall that's dedicated to those that have committed in choir. It's a big board. It was dedicated in loving memory to my mom who passed away. There's a beautiful picture of St. Cecilia on it, a mosaic, and it's a big celebrate wall of commitment. And on it, it has 5 years, and then everybody's name with gold background in bold with their name on it. They have their own plaque for all those who've been in choir 5 years, and there's a whole bunch of them. And that includes the children's choir. So once they've been in the choir 5 years, they get on that board. Anybody below 5 years is framed in a frame in the middle, and it lists their names on a nice people with nice script, nice piece of paper. Then there's those who have been in the choir 10 years. They move to the 10-year level. Then there's 15. Then there's 20. Then there's 25. There's 30. I really get worried because sometimes you don't want them to stay that long, especially with their voices. But God usually takes care of that because now we've added another wall of our choir of angels, those who pass away, and their names are there. So
where do you post that?
that's in the choir room. There's a whole wall, and everybody looks up to that. I say, look at that wall, and that inspires them to say, this is my home. And then when they get into the choirs of angels and get approved by St. Peter, that's just so great. You know, it's great. We have beliefs and all that stuff. So there are different ways of recruiting. First of all, at this time, this is about the time of year that we all plan for the entire year, okay? So you need to kind of study your schedule. Because when you're going to have, well, what I do is I interview everybody for choir, right? New members, I do free vocal checkups. Free vocal, it's not an audition. It is just a vocal checkup. But the main thing is they look at a contract of commitment with the parents, and on the back of the form, they will look at the whole schedule. I'll share with that in a minute. But the main thing is you just plan your schedule already. What major events you're going to have during the year? what services they sing, whether you're expecting them to sing for Christmas Eve. You would like to know if they're going to be in town. You know, you're going to have singers in town for Christmas Eve. How about for Easter? Are you going to plan a special cantata, a special musical? You need to put that in there. What about fundraising? Are you going to need funds? Well, when are you going to have your orientation? Get that organized and start raising funds before the schools get into session, maybe. You know, you can get that all organized. So you want to compile your calendar and kind of get that all up before you set up everything. Now, here's the power promotion, the recruiting. Okay, here are some sample flyers that I have put out. And now because of email, you can email these to people. And here is, let me just go in order of this. I don't want you to look up there. On the back page, announcing talent shirts. This has been my most successful recruiting tool. I find out what area schools are outside of my parish are possible targets for a talent search. If you have a Sunday school program, that's a place that you can do a talent search. Your Sunday school program, your Bible studies, any educational institutions associated with your church. I go to them. I don't expect them to come to me. I go to them, and this is what it is. I'm conducting a talent search throughout the whole, I say, Coastal Bend. And at this time, I visit schools and search for boys and girls who exhibit an exceptional talent in singing, making them eligible to sing, and I lie, about this nationally known Cathedral Children's Choir program. That's why we have confession. This year, the choir has limited openings in the chair choir, grades 1 to 3, and choristers, grades 4 through 7. And these are true, recognized by blah, 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 blah. You make yourself sound famous, okay? Make yourself sound great for your program. Think of something. Whether you sang the national anthem at a baseball game, those are things to acknowledge. Things that you maybe have done that have been really great. If you sense that your child is gifted vocally, with the permission below, Mr. Gwozdz will be happy to hear your child sing the well-known song, Happy Birthday to You. Please return this form to your teacher by tomorrow, and then I get permission. That is with some of the schools that need parental permission for me to hear them sing Happy Birthday. Okay, next page. This is something that appeared in our newsletter, our parish bulletin. It describes the whole program. And it's very simple. It tells generally about it and how to call. Just call that number and they leave a message and give us a daytime phone number, and we set up a 10-minute interview session for any of these choirs. Okay? The next page. Behind, on the back, where it says the Cathedral Youth Chorale. Now, if you love to sing, if you're a freshman, blah, 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 this is for the high school choir. You'd like to meet others who also claim this art, then you should consider interviewing for the Cathedral Youth Chorale. Now, I go to the local high schools, and I say that if you are active in your church already, your church may already have a high school program. I encourage you to be a part of that, whether you be in the First Baptist Church or the University Christian, if you have one. But it so happens I have openings in my choir and ask that to be this. I'm not proselytizing, I'm just giving them a possibility, an invitation. I don't go to the principal of the school, I go to the choir director or the band director first. If I get in trouble, well, it doesn't hurt to try. Get in trouble for the Lord, it's no big deal. I'm not doing anything bad. But anyway, I get usually the indoor to go visit them, give them a flyer, and then we get contacts. In regards to, see if there's other stuff. Yes, all right, the next page. Announcing 10 openings for first, second, and third graders. When they hear openings, they think, oh wow, will my child be one of those openings, okay? But I don't mind lying for the Lord because I just go ahead and go to confession. So, that's my. So it's simple, very simple, it goes to that. They're going to be in a children's Christmas pageant during Christmas Eve. Anyway, next page. Band students in high school. A lot of them would love to sing in their choir at high school, but they don't have the time. So band students are a great target for possibly singing your church choir. Because they would love the experience to sing, use their voice vocally, but they don't have time in high school. So I pass this out to band students. Okay, this is a sample. Now, the next page is another market, homeschool teachers. A lot of them are looking for musical possibilities, which would be in the church choir, where they get credit and they get grades. So I would give them a grade for being in church choir. So this is a good target. You may find in your area there is a homeschool teachers network. They passed this out for me, and they got it they emailed it to all their mailing lists of people who may be interested in any of these choirs. I advertise for all of them, for all the choirs. All right, next page. These are announcing another talent search. And that's just, again, all religions are welcome. You know, you don't have to be Catholic in my group. It can be anybody. I just want them to start going to church and sing so that they can go to heaven. You know what I mean? All right. Here's the next page. This is what I do. There are some principals that call me, and especially Catholic principals, that call me and said, please, can you come hear my kids this year? And there was 1 year I couldn't because I didn't have any openings. But what I do is I go and I hear every single grade, boys and girls, and what they do is they all come into the room at once, they all get into a circle. And the first thing I tell them is that I'm here to do a talent search. I wish I could have all of you in my choir at the cathedral, but I have limited space. But I'm going to hear all of you sing happy birthday. And if I think you have that special gift, I'll ask you to stay and remain for a while. I'll do some more testing. So I have them all sing happy birthday, and there's one girl saying, but who do we sing happy birthday to? I would say, to Mary. Mary who? I said, I know who's not going to be in choir. But I hear them sing happy birthday to you all together, and I'm able to do it several times. And when I touch them, I ask them to. That means that they go back to if you can go back to your classroom. There's a teacher there that leads them back to their classroom. It's kind of hard because it's kind of sad that I'd like for them to continue. But, and then there are those that are remaining. But the main thing what I'm listening for is the part that goes, happy birthday, dum, dum, dum. If they're just going, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to tap, happy birthday, that kind of thing. But I hear them sing the happy birthday, da, da, da. Then those that are remaining that can reach that high note, they sing together. And then I go around and I have them echo after me. Yoo-hoo! And they go, yoo-hoo! They stay. If I go, yoo-hoo! And the next word goes, yoo-hoo! Bye. But I have to go. I heard 600 kids last year. That's a lot, So those that are remaining, which are finalists, and I try to get as many boys as possible, too. Because if you want boys in your program, you got to have a lot of them. At least half of your chair choir has got to be boys, right? So I get as many boys as possible. Girls are good too, but I need to get as many boys as possible for that. I have them remain, and then I have them sing happy birthday, and then I get their first name. This is the letter, this next page, that they get at the end of the school day. The homeroom teacher passes this out, and I say, this is a letter to their parent or guardian. I told them I conducted a talent search. Your child, blank, tested very high today and qualifies for membership in the following cathedral choir. Then I circle which one. If you feel your child will be able to meet the above requirements, please call blah, blah, blah. Deadline is this. For more information, blah, blah, blah. Congratulations on raising a talented young singer, and I sign it. That afternoon, boom, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls, people leaving messages. I want my child to be a part of this. All right? Some of these letters, I say we only had this many openings, which was true. And there was one school, St. Patrick's Catholic School, and the parent called me and said, my child got the letter about being tested great for this choir. But everybody in that class got one. I said, oh, really? She says, I think you're just doing it just to get people to, just everybody. I said, well, what school did you go to? She goes, St. Patrick's. And I said, well, wasn't that the school that got the National Award for Excellence? She says, yes. Well, it's no wonder they all got it. She goes, oh, yeah, well, yes. Well, do you want to have her give a try to the choir? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great. So I ended up with that. So, but that was true in that case. All of them got that. So this has been my most successful way to recruit. Go to them. All right? We come to them, not say, come to our first rehearsal, blah, 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 and no one shows up. And, or I've heard a choir director said, listen, we have a children's choir program. If we don't have enough singers, we're not going to have it. That's a negative approach. On the next 2 pages, I think these are pretty cool. The course just gave this out like in the early 60s. But these are quotes you can put in the bulletin. I don't know how many are pretty relevant today. You put in your church bulletin when you're recruiting. Different quotes about what a sociologist says, a philosopher says, a criminologist says, an educator says. These are really pretty cool quotes. I think there were some unique things about that. You could use those. The next page is a sample contract. These are called contracts of commitment. And I believe in doing this because if you look at other volunteer organizations that you are a part of, whether you're part of Junior League, the Red Cross, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, there's some sort of contract that everybody expects of commitment. And I think it's very important for ministry that you have some sort of contract so that they know what expectations there are, a follow-up policy on attendance, and things like that. So it's very important. We keep a file. I keep a file on every singer that's been in my program. They have their own file. So now I have kids that are going to college. I give letters of recommendation. I wrote the letters of recommendation. I put it in their file. So we have a whole file on them from first grade on. If they pass away, then take it out. But here we have it. So I get their name, the school they're attending, their grade, their parents' name, plural. Sometimes there's 2 set of parents. That's going to be important to find out at the interview, what's going on there, because sometimes the mom wants the child to be in choir, but the father will not bring them to choir because they don't want the kid in choir. So in that case, at this point, I say we need both signatures. If we're not going to have the father's commitment to it, then we're going to have an issue with that. Okay, so that's from the start up. The address, phone numbers, professions, parents' profession, place of employment has been so amazing for me to find out where these parents work. I had a parent who was a manager of an Office Depot, and we got folders for free. You know what I mean? You find out these things. Somebody that worked at Peter Piper Pizza arranged for a pizza party. I had a lady that owned an oil company that raised $140,000 for me. But I found out by this, okay? It could have been President of the United States. You know, you just need to, well, not in this case, but there's an example here. Their birthday, we try to honor them on their birthday and day. And what part they sing in choir, I have to assign them their part 1 or part 2, and I can tell you later about that, and the height. Now, before I have the parents look, have them fill out this information, their profile information. I don't have them look at the policy yet. I have them look at the back of the contract, and that's this next page. This is the back of the contract. Weekly requirements. Wednesday, Sunday warm-up, and Sunday Mass. If they have a conflict with any of these 3, I can't consider them for membership at all. Okay, just those top 3 are very important. If they have a conflict, then they cannot be a part of this choir program. Additional requirements. The symphony chorus. Christmas Eve is important. A lot of parents say, well, if you're singing Christmas Eve, we can do that. We'll just leave Christmas Day. But at least they know. A lot of people leave Christmas Day because it's cheaper flights. So at least they know they're going to sing Christmas Eve. Holy Week, we camp out. And then we end with festival concert June 11th. And then if they plan to be out of town, I need to know. The other thing is, this is important at the bottom, if they have any medical or health problems, you need to know. Okay? So those are very important. And then we acknowledge when the first rehearsal is. So we look at this. I looked mainly at the top 3. And that's how I accept the singer. I don't audition singers, I accept them based on commitment, because I believe I can get everyone to sing, everyone to sing, with one exception. And the one exception is if they have real issues with hearing and they can't hear, and they can't, well, there's gonna be a challenge there. Or if they have voice that's damaged. Okay? So, go back to the attendance policy, to the front. This is important. If you have to miss any of the re-choir-ments, see how choir is spelled there, you must call the excuse line before the activity you will miss at this number. Okay? So we want some sort of accountability. It's as though you're training with a personal trainer at a gym, and the guy keeps you track of your workout, and make sure you're attending, and he keeps track of you. You are the choir trainer, and they want to make sure that we think they're important, because I can tell you, if I missed a rehearsal and I didn't hear anything from the director, I guess they don't care. You know, they don't really care that I'm not there. So you need to really follow up with all this. Then we have, pardon?
This is the second time we've had them call. Who answers that?
When they call, it's an excuse line. It's an automated excuse line. Yeah, it's 24 hours. You can call anytime. That my child will be missing this coming Saturday, but we'll see you on Wednesday. Okay, that kind of thing. If you miss without calling, we consider it unexcused. After 2 unexcused, we void the contract. I used to say we terminate the singer. I don't like, they started nicknaming me. They nicknamed me the Terminator. I hated that. So I say, we're voiding the contract. We're not kicking your kid out, but we're voiding the contract. After 8 excused and unexcused absences, your membership contract will be voided. After 4 unexcused tardies, it could just, this is an older contract since 1998, you notice. I went a little bit too far with all this. What I do is on a case-by-case basis, I see if there's some consistent absences. With some of my high school singers, I noticed there was a girl missing every other Sunday. I found out she took a job, you know. And then I found out every other Sunday she was gone. I said, well, you need to decide, you know, what to do. And so she fixed that up. But I take it on a case-by-case basis. The child signs the contract. Okay? And this is also with cherub choir. Grades 1, 2, and 3, they sign the contract with their parent. If the parents are separated, I need both signatures. And then, so this becomes a document, and folks, this also becomes a legal document in custody cases. I have gone to battle for children. I had a kid come over to me crying because their dad did not want to bring him to church choir. He was crying. So we went to court. And I testified for the child, and the judge ordered him because on the contract, the child signed the contract. It was the child's, because the child signed the contract, he is, by law, he has to make sure that he is here so that the child can live up to the contract. So many cases I've won. We've won, we've never lost. So, and the guy that was resisting bringing his child to choir was a lawyer. And he lost. He lost. I was in that trial. He tried to bring dirt on me too. That's not good. The next page is for adult choirs. Same thing, exactly the same. Whether there's soprano 1, 2, alto 1, 2, blah, 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 their height. I keep telling my choir I'm going to get their width. Because they're taking space in my choir. When it comes to 2 chairs, I'm sorry, you need to do something. But anyway, that's important, their height. But you know, I learned yesterday that I'm going to start voicing my choir, so height is out of the picture. When you're going to voice your choir, as at the session yesterday, I'm excited about that. It doesn't matter on height. There's windows they can see, so that's what I'm going to do with that. But you see, I get their profession, their email addresses, which change a lot. But we are now getting into the new thing, which is texting. People don't look at their emails anymore. So we have group texting now to remind everybody about. There is an app on the iPhone called, I have it here. I could text everybody and say, listen, I don't want to do that anthem this morning. Let's change it to this. Or listen, for Christmas, would you consider giving me a gift certificate to Bed Bath & Beyond? I'm just kidding. So the program, so the program's called Text the number 2 Group. Text 2 Group. And you send a message, but it doesn't go to everybody. Everybody doesn't receive it. So if somebody responds, you know, some of these group messages, everybody sees everybody's yes, yes, yes. You don't get that. So Text 2 Group, the number 2, Text 2 Group. And it's amazing. I give out hundred names on there, and it can go out. When I was on radio for KEDT, I have all my rich friends on here. So I put my my wealthy friends, and I'm on the radio station. Call now and pledge for the radio station, and they get it. They get it, and then the radio station loves me. So wow, whenever you're here, you get lots of calls. Like, okay, I don't know why. I do, but there you go. All right.
You have to go to confession.
It's a good business. I have a priest, and I invite him to my hot tub, so it gets real steamy. That's my confession. Steamy confession. Take that off the video, okay? All right, same thing with that. Look at all the requirements for the adults. It's a lot. They sing with the symphony. They do all kinds of things, but I have it all on paper. You know, whether they're going to go to Rome or sing for Pope or all kinds of things. So it is at the 10-minute interview, we go through the schedule. If they have any questions, they're very clear on these things. While the parent is filling out the information, I take the child I have one of my assistants, so there's somebody else in the room, and I do a vocal checkup. Okay? And I'll go through that in a minute. But while you have the parent there, the next page shows what we used to do is have our choir parents auxiliaries or committees. That's the time for them to sign up for different committees. You can sign up for committees, different committees. This is a sample of a form. You can update it. This is from the 20th century. 21st century, there's more things you can think of. But that's when you sign them up for committees. Next page is a sample if you have fundraising projects. Give them some options of what they can do and how they can help. Or they can just give you a cash contribution, you know, or a check, write a check. But if you're going to ask for monies or you need funding, that's the time to do it at the beginning, right there. We have a road fee for cleaning the roads, or we're getting new roads. We ask them to assist with the cost of new roads. Here's an example of what we emailed to parents about if their child was missing. It used to be a wanted poster from Forestersville, and we adapted it on computer. We could fill out the child's name. In this case, it was Chelsea Clinton. Wanted, Chelsea Clinton, unexcused absence at last required activity, and the date when it was. Whereabouts unknown, no message heard on the excuse line. Description, super singer, fun-loving, loves to sing, may be armed and desperate. If found, please return by Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. Reward, give, and you shall receive. So it's a kind of funny, tongue-in-cheek thing, but at least, again, they know you care. I was missing. They really are serious about this. The other thing we need to address is tardiness, okay? Being on time to choir. I'm trying to teach a discipline in the choirs, with all the choirs, to make sure they're on time. Yeah, I live in Corpus Christi, Texas, and they call us Manana Land, all right? Oh, I'm gonna be there, I'll be there, yeah. It's because we have the ocean, we have the bay, and it's like, okay, so usually if it starts at 8 o'clock, everybody shows up at 8:20. If it starts at 7 o'clock, they show up at 7:20. It's like a 20-minute late thing. So I've had policies on tardiness. And I used to just collect money for it, but I quit doing that because it got to the point where people said, oh, well, today I'll be late, I'll pay the $1. You know? I said, oh, that's not working. So a good example, my mom was in choir. My mother was in choir, in the adult choir. And my assistant director says, you've got to do something about your mother. I go, what? She's always late. You know, our policy on being shy, and when your mother's coming late, everybody else is late. I said, well, she's my mother. She said, well, you got to treat everybody fairly, even if it's your mother. All right? So it was around Thanksgiving time, and I decided to send a letter to all those choir members. All the choir members saying, great Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that you're in choir. Now, there's a box on this page, and if the box has a red star, you need to work on being on time to choir. You need to work on your tardiness. My mom got a red star. It was mailed to her house. I was at home, and the doorbell rings. And she's Polish background, so with her Polish accent, I open the door. Her eyes are angry with passion. She's holding up the letter. She tears it up, throws it at me, and says, "You are no longer my son." And then slams the door and leaves. I get calls from my younger sister, and she says, "You are off the well. What did you do to Mom?" And she said she was celebrating because I was off the well. I go, "Well," and my other brother and sister said, "What did you do to Mom?" Well, the word spread to other choir members. He kicked out his mother. He kicked out his mother. The next rehearsal, everybody was on time and in their seat. And they were like, "Where's your mother?" She wasn't on time. They were like, "Oh my God, he kicked out his own mother." Mom was fuming. She didn't show up Sunday. She didn't show up the next week. She didn't show up Sunday again. She was still fuming. It was almost Thanksgiving. I knew this had to be resolved pretty quickly. So I talked to my director. I said, look, I'm off the wheel now. You know what? I'm off the wheel because of you. He said, "Well, you've got to be fair to everybody, even if it's your mother." So I decided to write another letter. I thought, contract. Mom signed a contract. Let's see. Yes, there is a line in the contract that says, "I understand the pontifical choral requirements and tense volume, and upon blah, 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 I commit myself to blah, 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 which begins September 25th and ends June 13th. The letter says, "I cannot accept your resignation at this time because you signed a contract, which is attached here in the letter. It says you will be in the choir till June 13th. I will see you at the next rehearsal." Period. Mailed it. Doorbell rings. I open the door. "You want me back?" And from that point on, she was never late. Never late. So that's the story you can tell others. That I kicked out my own mother, but I really didn't. But that's how to be fair with everybody. When you have a expectation of how long you want your commitment to be, maybe you just want it to be half of the year, if you do it in half years. But that has helped me in many, many ways, having this commitment form. And you're going to probably start out with a lot of people. You'll have attrition, naturally. And just my policy is you decide to be in choir. They think they're doing you a favor to be in choir. That's the wrong mentality. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered is prayer. 2 or 3 are gathered, even if it's just myself. But you're going to join me in the choir of angels at church. Now let's do it together. All right. So we ought to treat everybody the same way. Lawyers, doctors, unemployed. We're one choir family. Okay. Are there any questions so far on any of this?
Do you do the vocal checkup with adults too?
I do. Let's look at that page of the vocal checkup, what I do. Now, that's the last page, right? Oh, here it is. Okay. Free vocal checkup. Again, I say, I've had some people call me and say, "I have an audition piece for you." I say, "You do?" I may have them sing it, I may not. Or I love those that say, "My child is singing the national anthem all the time." They're the ones with the big chest voice, and Leanne Ryan's wannabes that want to be in choir. So I do that with particularly new singers. I do a vocal checkup to see where they are. Okay. So let me start out with the children. With the children, I have them stand. It's right over here, and teach them how to hold their body, their position. Okay? And then I have them echo the ability to match pitch here. I have them do it on La, on G5, E5. I tell them I'm going to play on the piano 2 notes, and after you hear it, sing it on La. So they go like this, and they go La. Okay. Okay. Now, there's sometimes they may not match the pitch because they hear the overtones on the piano. They would go like this. La la, la la. Now, what I do is I then sing it vocally, testing vocally. I go, now repeat after me. La la. Then they will actually go la la, because sometimes hearing it off the piano they hear overtones. Okay, so if they tested really good on that, if they were accurate, then either one of those, if they were accurate with the piano, that's great. Sometimes after a man's voice like mine, because I'm a man, they think if I go la la, they're gonna go la la because I'm a man. But if it's but what I try to do is have a woman in there too, and have them echo after me. So I would go like to la la. Can you repeat after me? La la. Then I have them repeat after her. Okay. Then I go la 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 la. Then I say now take it away from her. I go la 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 la. So actually I should have gone like this. La 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 la. You understand? La la. La la. Take her out. La la. So that they get used to that octave. See, it's the whole octave thing. So with guys, that's what you got to do with kids. All right. So, all right. Then I go into 3-note testing. I always go from above. All right. That for some reason, inexperienced singers have problems with an ascending. So I have them go on. This one. This is the 3-note testing. On do. All right, that was that, and this is ascending. Let's see, well, that doesn't make sense. Descending. Oh, ascending. Here's another one. I just want to see if they can do this. Now, I have 3 criteria: accurate, slightly accurate, or uncertain. Uncertain means they have some pitch problems. Okay. If I hear them go, if I go like this, do do, and they go do 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 do, I go through the channels of voice. So I say, repeat after me. I whisper like this. I speak like this.
I speak like this.
I shout like this.
I shout like this.
I sing like this.
I sing like this.
99% of the time through that process, they go into certain singing. They know to change their channel. And that's what happens. But I need to note that if they are uncertain. Then I decide whether they be part 1 or part 2. Range, I wait for later choirs. Okay. So how do I decide part 1 and part 2? Near their name, I label them as S for strong, M for medium, and W for weak. Okay, and these are my files, so I know that when I place them in choir, if there's a weak singer, I usually put the weak singers in the front so that I can kind of monitor them for a while. The medium singers I put next to strong singer, and spread out the strong singers between the mediums. But the first row is going to be the weak ones. Then the weak ones that are having pitch problems usually take time. But the weak ones then, after about a week, I kind of blend them in with the rest of the choir. But at least you know your strong ones. I put more of my strong ones in part 2. And it's not soprano, alto, they're all pretty much the same range. When it comes to that repertoire, they're within the same range. So I don't really concentrate on soprano, alto until the high school choir, until they're in high school. So if you look at part 1 and part 2, it's the same range. Okay, but you need to, if you want to do harmony, you have to have your stronger singers in part 2. Okay, so they can have some harmony. Now with adults, I do the same thing, same process, but I need to determine their high notes. Their highest note that they sing, whatever it is. So it's on a 5-note scale going down on the nonsensible ya. Ready? On ya. Can you see how high they can sing if they go like soprano 1. If they're a soprano 2, it's because they have a darker timbre, darker tone, a richer sound. If they have like a lighter sound, I put them in soprano 1. And soprano 2 will be the more mezzo sound. If you have real, it's hard to find real altos. Real altos. There's a lot of sopranos who say, altos who say I can't sing high, but they're really a soprano. So I put the frustrated sopranos in the alto section, alto 1. And then I have, if I'm blessed with some really, really strong true altos, put them in alto 2. Tenor 1s, tenor 2s. Baritones, you can tell what in their range, what's their strongest note. If they can't sing below a C strong enough, they're not a bass. But you listen to their tone to see if they really are a bass sound. Tenors, it's a brighter sound, so you can kind of tell. Now, for returning members, I don't do them individually, I do them as a group. All returning members are put into an orientation together, so they fill out the contracts together. And if they want me to hear their voice, or I want to hear their voice, I do an individual voice check because I sense that maybe their voice is changing. Those singers that are aging, I need to check their voice to see if I need to put them in another section. So those are things that I need to kind of watch. So, but new members go through the individual process. Returning members go through a group orientation. Okay? We have 1 minute. Are there any questions? And if you want to, you can always email me in my box. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Feel free to use any of these materials. I've had many people use this process of recruiting and have had great success with it. So I wish you luck. Remember, it's worked for me. And, I've gone to confession a lot, but really, honestly, we're doing it for the Lord. We're all in it for it. And I have learned from many of the denominations. Thank you all.